are pretty impressive, eh? This is Myra Falls. I'm actually in Strathcona Provincial Park, which is kind of mid-Vancouver Island, and Myra Falls here is one of the main falls right at the in the heart of the park. Now Strathcona is probably the oldest park in British Columbia, but I've come out to Myra Falls to see if I can get some shots here. Now I've got to be honest with you, I've been here several times in the past and I've never come away with anything really thrilling. I mean, it's a pretty impressive falls, but I find it quite hard to photograph. The nice thing about the falls is that there are several different cascades, so there's lots to choose from. Now I've never been down to the bottom waterfall, and from the air with the drone it looks pretty impressive, so I'll probably go down there and check that out. So I'm going to spend the night here, hopefully get some shots here in the morning as well, and then I'm going to head out to another waterfall not too far from here. Have the whole place to myself as usual. Okay, I've managed to bushwhack down to the lower falls here, and it's absolutely fantastic. There's so much water coming down. I can really feel the power and the spray all over this area. Now it's heavily backlit. You have the sun up here, so you get this nice spray floating around in the air here. So I'm going to see if I can capture some of that. Now, because this waterfall is quite powerful, I think I'm going to take a bunch of shots at a faster shutter speed and capture, or try to capture, the power of it. As you've probably seen in a lot of my videos, my shutter speeds are usually quite slow, but I think for this image I'm definitely going to use a faster shutter speed. I also think I'm going to do like a bit of a pano. I especially like the top part of this waterfall rather than the whole thing. I mean, I'll take some shots of the whole thing, but I definitely like the line of a waterfall kind of mid-ground. And then over here there's some really nice moss that's kind of backlit. I don't know if you can see this, but all the spray is kind of backlit, so I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of that in here. And then above I can just make out the waterfall that I was looking down on before. It's really quite beautiful. Right, going to set some shots up. I think I'm also going to try to see if I can get a bit of a sun star. The sun is just about to set behind the trees there, so it's a good opportunity to try that. So if you want to get a sun star, the best way to do that is have something blocking the sun, and then stop down your aperture to, you know, f16 or even f22. Then you get that nice sunburst. Okay, now I took some shots from this area yesterday. The only problem is that I didn't have my boots with me, so I ended up taking them from the sidelines here, and I couldn't quite get the angle that I wanted. So that's one of the reasons why I've come back here, because I wanted to wade into just over to here and get this small cascade in the foreground to the larger one in the background. Of course, I've got to be kind of careful here because I don't want to fall down the chute here. Now with this shot here, what I'd like to do is kind of show you ways that you can get the smoothness of the water, but also get texture in there as well by combining two images together. Now I use Photoshop, and what I do is I take one image with a slow shutter speed, one image with a fast shutter speed, same composition, and then kind of paint in textures where I want them. So I'll take one image at a really slow shutter speed, like say a second, and then I'll take another one at maybe a sixth or an eighth of a second. We'll have a look at those individual images, and then we'll combine the two to get the effect that we want. This area is really nice. The only problem with today is the light isn't quite as nice as yesterday. Even though it was sunny yesterday, the sun was setting over here, and there was a really nice backlit mist in the air, which is really nice. Today the light's quite flat, so not quite as interesting, but still a great location nevertheless. Of course, I'm the only one here again. Great. Okay, I'm at Lupin Falls, and unfortunately Lupin Falls isn't looking quite as good as I remember it. Last time I was here, I mean, it was a difficult place to photograph to start with, but now there's a lot of deadfall around the area. So I started to look around for photographs, and then it started raining. So it just wasn't meant to be for this trip anyway. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my laptop here, and I'm going to go over what I was talking about earlier, where I combine two images of water together, where we have one with texture and then one with that kind of blurry effect. And you can add as much texture as you want, or not add very much at all. It really depends on the kind of mood you want. All right, let's get right into it. Okay, the first thing I need to do is open up the two files. So we'll just go into Photoshop here, File. Now instead of just going Open, I'm going to go down to Scripts and load files into Stack, and we'll just browse for the two files that I'm going to use, and here they are here. So select both of those and open them. Now this will take a little bit of time. Now before I do open them, I'm just going to click on this box here, attempt to automatically align source images. And what that'll do is, if there's any discrepancies in the alignment, Photoshop will automatically align them for you, because sometimes there might be a little bit of movement in the camera, even though you've taken the shots one after another. Okay, so I have both of the images here in two separate layers. The top layer is the image with the water with the texture in it. This was taken at 1/30th of a second, I believe. And then the bottom layer was taken at 1 second, and you can see that it's quite smooth and kind of mushy looking. So how do we get this texture, or some of this texture, into this image here? First thing you want to do is just highlight, or make sure you select the top layer, and then we're going to put a mask on that layer. So down here you'll see a rectangle with a circle in it. Just click on that, and you'll notice all of a sudden there's a white mask next to the image. So make sure that we select the mask. Now on a Mac you go Command I, and that'll turn the layer into a black mask. So now all of a sudden we can't see that top layer. So from there we're going to paint in some of that texture into the water. So we choose B for brush, which is it's already on B, a brush, and make sure that the paint
is white. So right now it's black. You just press X and that'll change it to white. And then your percentage, it's really up to you. We'll do it at 80% just so you can see exactly what's happening here. So you'll notice that as I start painting, you can see the layer or the texture from that layer coming right through. And you can add as much or as little as you want. Now right now I've more or less added that whole layer, which is not really what I want to do. If you feel that you've gone too far and you didn't want to add that much texture, then all you have to do is press X again, and all of a sudden you're black paint, and you just start to mask that area in again. So it's very simple to do, and you don't have to limit this to water either. I do this quite often with foliage that's moving. So some of the images that I took, I wanted a certain shutter speed. I wanted a 1/5 or a 1/6 of a second, but it was quite windy and the foliage around the waterfall was moving. So if I just left it at 1/5 of a second, then obviously that foliage would have been quite blurry. So what I'll often do is I'll take the photograph of the waterfall at the shutter speed that I need, and then I'll take another image of just for the foliage at a faster shutter speed so it captures the action and the foliage isn't blurry. And then just to do this exact method in Photoshop, I'll just paint in the foliage or the areas that I want to be sharp. All right, and that's it. It's a pretty simple method of adding texture to an image. And you know, there are other ways that you can do it, but this is just one way that I do it that's quite simple with Photoshop. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you have any questions, as always, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this little video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. All right, everybody, until next time, thanks ever so much, and we'll catch you next time. All right, bye.